second paragraph, that one sentence says, procedures for dealing with complaints concerning programs or practices should be governed by the following principles. And then it's got 4 bulleted items. Where action and investigation is desired by the complainant or where it seems appropriate, the matter should be handled as near the source as possible. Complaints should both be investigated and, if possible, resolved expeditiously. Complaints should be dealt with courteously and in a constructive manner, and individuals directly affected by the complaint should have an opportunity to respond. And then it talks about specific procedures for handling complaints may be established in policies. The board, consistent with its board policy-making role, will deal with complaints concerning specific schools or programs or procedures only after the usual channels have been exhausted. And it'll go on to explain that the channels are either the superintendent and or principals or as close to the source of the issue as possible. Complaints regarding employees or complaints by students will follow the more specific policies on those issues. When a complaint requiring attention is received by a board or board member, it will be referred to the superintendent. Your role and responsibility is not to solve the problem right at your level. Your role or responsibility is to pass it on. And generally, when I receive a complaint, either you have told the individual, give me a call, or you have called or contacted me to say, I just want you to know I got this complaint, or this conversation took place, or whatever it is. And that is hard sometimes, because in the community, people approach you and they want you to take care of it. They come to you and they want you to fix it. You know, they walk up to Lisa, they voice their concern about something, and they think because she's on the board, she's going to take care of that problem. Or they say to Doug, fix it, literally. That's what they're expecting to have happen. And I think this is tricky. I think it's very tricky for a board member to provide a feeling to the community person that that person's been listened to, but also not say to them, I'm going to take care of it and fix it for you, because you're not in a position or you don't have a role to be able to do that. And I think that puts you sometimes in a pretty thin line about how you can respond to people. And I'm just encouraging you to help those people either make the phone call to me or make it to one of the principals if it's in their building. And I know you say on occasion, if it's a teacher question or a teacher concern or a teacher issue, if it's at that level, have you talked to the teacher? Because if somebody calls me, often I'm saying to them, have you talked to the teacher? Yep, I have. I'm not satisfied. Have you talked to the principal? Yep, I have. Okay, then it should be to me, but I ask those questions to see how it got to my level. Not because I don't want them to be satisfied, but because I want them to have gone to the place where they need to have that conversation first. And I think this is hard. I think as I've worked with boards in 3 school districts now, it's hard. And all 3 of the boards I've worked with have been in smaller communities where everybody knows everyone, and it's very hard sometimes to leave that person feeling like they have any satisfaction at all, but yet understanding you're not in a position to fix that or to go investigate it yourself. So, go ahead.
And I would say too, probably, you know, if a student comes to you with a complaint, it's probably just as difficult for you to say, okay, did you talk to the teacher?
Yep.
Did you talk to the principal? You know, they look at you as solving that, and so I suppose it's just as difficult for you to do that.
Yep.
You know, and that's the route that sometimes the student needs to be directed to also.
I think where personally, and where I find it the most difficult at my level is when a parent complains to me about a coach, and I say to them, have you talked to the coach? Because that seems to be harder than it does to talk to a teacher. And nope, I'm not going to. And I'm like, well, okay now. And really, I try to walk them through, you know, take the time to walk them through, will you please consider talking to me? Do you want me to sit in with you? Do you want me to help you set that up? But that seems to be one of the trickier ones, because often when they talk to me, they're angry, or it's leftover anger from Friday night or some other time. And that's hard. That was one of the harder ones, I feel like, and I don't know that I feel very confident often that they're actually going to make that contact.
Well, and some of those people want to throw a little spicy language in with it too, you know. And you don't have to listen to that. As simple as that. You know, if you're gonna be abusive with your tongue, I can't visit with you at all. If you wanna have a civil conversation with me, if you wanna tell me about something you don't like, fine, I'm here to listen. And I will get it to the level that it needs to be, or steer you to the level that you need to get it to. But don't use that kind of language, or we can't have any conversation here.
This last round of snow,
I see people going off of football fields, chasing coaches, yelling all kinds of profanities at them. That should never happen, never.
I would let you know that there were a number of very offensive phone calls this last week because of snow. And one morning...
KCAU? No, other one.
Well, that is another story. I did call live to one station.
Oh, no,
We
sorry.
were doing some sort of, they had an auction for concrete bird baths, and the guy said, "What's your bid?" And I'm like, I said, "I'm the superintendent from East Sac County Schools, and we had a weather announcement." He said, "You're on live," and I'm like, I heard in the background $85, and I thought, my husband used to make those when he owned the concrete plant, and I thought, wow, that was more than what Al charged for me, but anyway. But it's exactly what you said, and you know what, I'm still sort of offended by some of those phone calls, and I hung up on a couple of people and just said, I'm hanging up, because it was terrible profanity. And occasionally you get to explain how you make the decision about whether, but there are just, and you know, I have to keep thinking, they really weren't as mad at me as they were at somebody else or something else that day, but it's not very pleasant to have happen. I think just general complaints that come by citizens to you, it's just something you have to remember, and it's hard. It's hard because you just get in a conversation with somebody, and before long, they're asking you to do something, they're asking for information, and this is one I think every board probably every year needs to look at and just remember and think about how they handle those complaints then. And it's not your role to solicit, you know, if you want information about things, you've got administrators and people that you can get it from, but this is just a good one to remember. So,
People have to try to understand that as individuals, we have no authority. We only have authority when we sit as a board. Some people have a very difficult time understanding that.
you make policy, and then you expect your employees, in particular at the administrative level, to enforce policy or bring back changes to you about policy.
So I was just talking about weather-related things. Has the school ever contacted the secondary roads department about M54? Wednesday I came back from Carroll, and I'm telling you, you couldn't even go 20 miles an hour on those curves, and I was like, good grief.
We talked to secondary roads every day last week more than once.
And you're not getting a response from them?
They'll just say it's icy. Tell, advise people not to travel on it. Or that's,
You did have it on the website, didn't you?
yep, we sent it, we had it on the website. There was one day when we got the phone call that we got it on the website, and also sent emails out about it.
Secondary Roads has been pretty cooperative with us, actually.
M54 is just not ever in too good a shape.
No, it's not, and I don't want to be critical about it because I don't know enough about that, and you're right that it is in bad shape, but there have been a number of times where the announcement at the end of the high school day is, we know that M54 is not in the best shape, take the curves slowly, you know, you hear them, it's sort of like mom and dad giving the last message out the door at the end of the school day for the kids that drove as well. The other thing I would suggest, and when parents who have high schoolers complain to me about the roads, I make a comment to them, we have a bus every day that runs back and forth, and, you know, at the very least have them catch the bus here, and then, you know, we don't go when the buses can't go.
Well, it's not just the kids, but I mean, it is, and
Yes.
it needs to be addressed.
So, any other comments or anything from the board report I gave to you?
I have just a couple comments, Mark.
Okay.
I saw a number somewhere, I think I was looking online somewhere or something, but on the cross-board budget cuts, I saw a number a lot bigger than what you gave us tonight. Like $130,000 figure.